On this week's episode of the Best of Johnston County podcast, our guest is Keith Newland, the president of the Blue Knights Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club of Johnston County. This is a motorcycle club made up of current and former law enforcement members that rides around and raises money for varying charities, often supporting law enforcement families and the community. He talks a little bit about how he got involved with the Blue Knights, what the Blue Knights do, some of their upcoming fundraisers, including a motorcycle ride for a fallen officers foundation on June the 28th, 2025, and a raffle that they're putting on to raise money on July 17th, 2025. So listen in. I think you will find it interesting and fascinating and learn about this group of law enforcement officers and what they're doing to give back to their community.
Welcome to another episode of Best of Johnston County, brought to you by Breeden Law Office. Our host, Jonathan Breeden, an experienced family lawyer with a deep connection to the community, is ready to take you on a journey through the area that he has called home for over 20 years. Whether it's a deep dive into the love locals have for the county or unraveling the complexities of family law, Best of Johnston County presents an authentic slice of this unique community.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Best of Johnston County podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Breeden, and on today's episode, we have Keith Newland, the president of the Blue Knights Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club right here in Johnston County. We're going to talk to Keith a little bit about what are the Blue Knights, who can be a member, and what the Blue Knights do to support the citizens of Johnston County and some of the surrounding counties as well, and how you can get involved to help the Blue Knights in some of their fundraising projects that are going on over the next few months. But before we get to that, I would like to ask you to like, follow, subscribe to this podcast wherever you're seeing, whether it be on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, or any of the other social media channels of the Best of Johnston County podcast. The Best of Johnston County podcast comes out every single Monday and has now for over 18 months. So be listening for great episodes in the future and go back and listen to some of our previous episodes with County Commissioner Chairman Butch Lauder, County Manager Rick Hester, the people who own Just Dog People, my favorite dog store. We have a lot of great guests. If you love Johnston County as much as I do, this is the podcast for you. But if you don't like or subscribe, wherever you're seeing it, you won't be made aware of future episodes and you might forget about us. So do that right now before we get into talking, before you listen to our conversation with Keith. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So you do not sound like you're from Johnston County.
No, I'm not. Originally, I spent most of my life in London, England, where I grew up. I was a cop. I was a police officer in London. I was a London bobby for 10 years. And then for the next 20 years after that, I was with the Highway Patrol in England. Then I retired, did my 30 years, retired, and had family in the US. My daughter and son-in-law and grandkids lived in Maryland. So we decided that we would try and come and live in America. So we did the immigration process and we finally moved here in 2013.
Okay.
So,
well, I love the accent. And I was just telling you before we started recording that I lived in London one summer.
Yes, sir.
And studied at the University College of London when I was in law school. And I studied European Community Law and Public International Law. And back then, the European Community was brand new. That would have been the summer of '98 when they also had the World Cup, which France won. And I happened to be in France when they won the World Cup that year. But yeah, so it was neat. And the accent.
So when you say World Cup, you're talking proper football.
Right. We're talking about actual soccer, not American football. Believe me, I found out how serious people were about soccer when I was living in London with the World Cup going on.
Yes,
and America has gotten more serious about soccer in the last 25 or 30 years. But so anyway, so did you wear like the uniform with the hat?
I did. I was a London bobby with the bobby's hat on for 10 years. I only wore that for the first couple of years when I was on foot patrol. And then when you start driving, you wear a flat hat. And then I've still got my bobby's hat. I've kept it. So I've got it at home. Kept it for posterity. I'll probably hand it down to my son and it'll just get handed down and stay in the family, hopefully. But yeah, so I had a great time. I was a cop in London, loved it. I say 10 years with the city, 20 years with Highway Patrol, and came away with nothing but good memories.
I got you. They still drive on the wrong side of the road over there.
They do, yeah. Drive on the wrong side of the road and don't carry guns.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I don't know exactly how you could be a police officer without carrying a gun, but
the thing is,
I guess you did it for 30 years.
Yeah, in 30 years, we had 2 incidents where we needed firearm backup, and there was firearm backup available. But most of the threat in England comes from knives. because it's an island. After the Dunblane shooting, they banned all handguns. So there was a blanket ban on handguns after the Dunblane shooting. The teacher and all the kids got killed. So the only people that really had guns were the farmers. They had their shotguns and rifles for farming. So, yeah, so the access to handguns was very limited. And so some of the bad guys had handguns and some of the cops had handguns. But for the best part, yeah, didn't need it.
All right. Well, and you're now the president of the Blue Knights Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club. Tell the listeners what that is and how you got involved.
Right, the Blue Knights is a motorcycle club made up almost exclusively of serving and retired police officers. To be a regular member, you've got to be a full-time serving police officer or have retired from the police department, not resigned and left early. You've got to have served your time, and then you can become a Blue Knight. There are associate members for officers who are part-time, and we do have a limited allowance of honorary members who normally friends of ours. They're not law enforcement, but they come along, they ride with us, they want to support us, and they want to hang out with us. And that's basically how it's made up. It was founded in 1974 in Bangor, Maine. A small group of cops decided they were going to want a motorcycle club, and they started riding, and it grew and grew and grew, and it's now global. There's probably close to 15,000 members at the moment worldwide.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I went to the Blue Knights website and read that the group as a whole has raised over $18 million for charity.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's what our primary goal. As I say, we're cops. We like to eat. We like to ride. Those two go very close together, especially with cops. And we like raising money. We support. Our primary role is to support fallen officers' families, because we're cops, and we got to look out for each other. We got to look after our own. But that said, we like to extend into the community because we like people to know who we are. I mean, yeah, we're bikers, we're the good guys, and we want people to know that we're here. You know, there is a human side to police officers. Most people only see cops as people who ride around in cars, stop them if they're speeding, or take them to jail if they've done something wrong. And it's nice for people to meet us, look at me, you know, oh, does he look like a police officer? And meet who we are. And that's why one of the things we did last year, the Johnston County chapter was, I'd say, ticking over. We were just about keeping our heads above water with regard to membership and things like that. And I took over as president a couple of years ago. And we're working very closely, actually, with our brothers at the Wake County chapter, North Carolina too. And I say, their president, Vince, really good friend of mine. We bounce ideas off each other. We share ideas. And we followed on from what they've been doing. This past year, we went out, we bought a tent, we bought a banner, a sign, table covering with the Blue Knights logo on it, chairs. And we go and set up at events. We go and put the tent up. Primarily this past year, we've been doing events down at Bulldog Harley Davidson in Smithfield. So it's obviously our home is Smithfield. We meet every month down at Golden Corral for dinner and a meeting. And so we put the tent up and we wear our colours and we tell everybody who we are. We hand out flyers saying, this is the Blue Knights. This is who we are. This is my phone number. This is my email address. Talk to us, you know, get us involved. Let us be involved with you guys. And again, it's brought us, it's working. Obviously, the tent thing is working because last year alone, we signed up 3 new members purely from officers, off-duty officers, seeing us at the event and saying, what's all this about? What's the Blue Knights about? I'm a cop. I ride a bike. Can I join? Hell yeah. Come along.
Okay, well, that's great. That's great. And women can be members too. It's not just men.
No, I've got 2 ladies at the moment who are both serving police officers. Well, one's serving, one's retired. They're both full regular members of our chapter, Barbara and Megan. They're both serving members. Well, I say Barbara's now retired, but Megan's still serving. And yeah, they come out, they ride with us, they eat with us, they laugh and joke with us.
Right, and there's no probationary period. There's no hazing to get into your motorcycle club.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, we ride. You want to be a member? Obviously, we do a background check in so much as we make sure you are a serving officer. You are. When I applied to join, I had to show them my certificate of service from England saying that I'd served 30 years. I retired, you know, with good conduct and all that sort of thing. So we do actually, process the application. Who are you working for? When you were a cop, who were you working for? And make sure that they tick all the boxes before they come in. But that is pretty much the vetting process.
Yeah. So how many members does the Johnston County chapter have?
At the moment, we are up to 30.
Wow.
We've got 30 at the moment. So we're in good shape. We've got 2 more members, hopefully 2 more members joining this month. They've got applications coming in. So that's cool.
You don't have to ride an American bike either. You can ride any motorcycle you want, right?
You can ride 2 wheels, you can ride 3 wheels. We have people come out and ride on the spiders, the 3-wheelers, the spiders, the slingshots. We have one of our members who sadly passed. He became ill and couldn't ride 2 wheels anymore, so he sold his bike and got a slingshot, so he could still come out and ride with us, which was great because he was our rear gunner. Whenever we went on rides, he was our rear gunner and made sure that we were safe.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Have family law questions? Need guidance to navigate legal challenges? The compassionate team at Breeden Law Office is here to help. Visit us at www.breedenfirm.com for practical advice, resources, or to book a consultation. Remember, when life gets messy, you don't have to face it alone.
So what are some of the things y'all raise money for? Back in the day when I was really active with the Crossroads Civitan, which unfortunately is no longer in existence here at the 4042, we would do poker runs and raise money for varying charities.
Absolutely.
And a poker run is, you're not aware, is where the motorcycle, they ride to different locations, and each location they get a card, and at the end they get the last card, and the best poker hand wins a small prize, and everybody pays $25 to join, and we raised several $1,000s several times. We got some sponsors, different things. We did Special Olympics. There was a young man who was sick in the community. We did a lot of different things, and I'm assuming y'all do a lot of those same things.
Absolutely, yeah. This past year, we've been in a supporting role. So we will support rides, whether it be an officer down ride. A classic example of what we do, obviously Bulldog Harley Davidson down in Smithfield is a great spot for us. We know the staff there. The staff know us. We get on really well with them. They've been supporting us by letting us put our tent up at events and that. I had work done on my bike there, and their service manager, unfortunately last year, was involved in a fatal accident. He was on his way home on his motorcycle. An 18-wheeler pulled out on him and he got killed. So a local group, Help Thy Neighbour Johnston County, you may have heard of it. Charity, they raise money, they put on events. And last year they put on an event for Joe to raise money. And this coming Saturday, we've got another ride coming up, and we're going down there as Blue Knights to support them and raise money for Joe's family. Last year, we did memorial rides. As you know, Sergeant Nix got killed. We did a fundraising ride for him. Wasn't organised by us as Johnston County Blue Knights, but we were there last year a lot in a supporting role. This year, we've decided now our chapter is growing, and I've got a superb officers. As I say, you saw the list of officers that we've got. I've got a fantastic vice president, fantastic secretary, treasurer, all very proactive. I've got great directors. Yeah, I've got a great team, and we all work together. And this year we decided we wanted to put something back ourselves. We are still supporting other rides, but this year we're actually putting on a ride.
Right, and I think that's going to be June 28th.
Yes, sir.
At Wayne. It's going to start at Wayne Community College in Goldsboro.
Yes, sir.
And who is that ride to raise money for?
Right, we're raising money for a thing called the Trooper Nolan Sanders Foundation. Trooper Nolan Sanders was a North Carolina Highway Patrol trooper, and obviously Highway Patrol's close to my heart, being Highway Patrol from England. And he was killed on duty a couple of years ago, and his family have created this foundation to support first responder families of fallen officers, to provide scholarships. They're doing really well. One officer got killed in the line of duty. They paid his mortgage for a year. They paid for scholarships for children. And we decided that's where we would like to focus our energies on this year. So at the moment, we've got everything booked and planned. Now we're starting to bring it all together. And that's where you guys could help, because we're looking for sponsors. I mean, obviously a ride doesn't just happen. There's financial implications, and obviously we're here to raise money. We as a chapter are putting our own money into it. And obviously if anybody can help out, door prizes, we need door prizes, sponsorship, financial, or, product, anything, to help put this ride together.
Okay. You're also working on a raffle where you're raffling off some very nice guns.
Yes, sir.
And what is going to be and that raffle is going to take place on July the 17th, 2025. And tickets are $10 a piece. And so what is that money going to support?
Again, all the money goes back into, as one of the things we do each year is because I say, we're Johnston County Blue Knights, but Blue Knights is a global thing. There's no Blue Knights in Wilson County. There's no Blue Knights in Wayne County. There's no chapters out there. So what we did, we almost adopted them. So we are the Johnston County Blue Knights, but we incorporate Wilson and Wayne counties. So we use them. Some years before I even came on board, the chapter decided that their chosen charity of the year was the Kennedy Children's Home out in Kingston, a huge children's home. And so that every year since I joined, apart from during the COVID period, we go out to Kingston and we raise money. We donate money out of our own pocket, obviously out our own account, to the kids at Kingston. And that's one of the things that we support every year. And it's just anything we can do where we can donate money or time or anything. Anybody's welcome to come to speak to us, talk to us. As I say, we've got a Facebook group, the Johnston County NC12 supporters. So if you go on Facebook and look up Johnston County NC12, you'll find us. Anybody can join. We list all our rides there, our meetings, what we're doing, fun facts, anything like that, safety tips.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Because another thing that the Blue Knights is really big on is motorcycle safety and promoting the correct way to ride.
Yes, sir.
So what have y'all been doing to try to educate the public about motorcycle safety and stuff like that?
Again, from our perspective, we do the shows, we put our tent up and we meet people, and especially down at Bulldog Harley Davidson, great spot. We go down there, we talk to people and meet fellow bikers. We're bikers at the end of the day, we're bikers. All right, we were cops, or we are cops, but we're still bikers. And we like to share just little tidbits and, exchange war stories, for the want of a better word. This nearly happened to me, it can happen to anybody, have eyes in the back of your head and that sort of thing. And yeah, we just try and share. And I say, from my perspective, being retired highway patrol, I've got an absolute plenty of war stories to tell people. Some good, some bad.
No, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I know one of your officers is Stephen Anderson, the Four Oaks police chief.
Yes, sir.
I worked with him for many, many years. I was doing criminal defense when he was a young officer, and he's a really good guy.
Oh, he's fantastic. He's one of my directors.
And he's done a great job down in Four Oaks and sort of revamping that police department.
Yes, sir.
And he deserves a lot of credit for what he's done there. So how can people reach out to you, the Blue Knights? How can they get involved?
Right. As I say, we've got our own Facebook group, Blue Knights Facebook group. These are Johnston County. So just search Johnston County on Facebook. You'll find us. Anybody can join. It's a public site. It's not limited to anybody. We have got rules. There's basic rules in the group. We're all cops and retired cops. Don't come and join us to say you can take a cheap pop at us. If you take a cheap pop at us, you'll be blocked and you won't come back. But we're there. Come and talk to us, come and meet us. This year, we did it last year. We did Mount Olive Pickle Festival. And that was a great fundraiser because we use that as a time as well to sell our raffle tickets. And that's what we're going to be doing again this year. We've got the Mount Olive Pickle Festival. That's April 26th. We're going to be setting up the tent. And again, handing out the flyers. You saw the flyers that I gave you. Tells us tells people what the Blue Knights were, where they came from, where they are now. It gives details of our chapter, with all our officers listed, contact information. And as I say, reach out to us. We love talking to people.
All right.
As you can see, I love talking.
Yeah,
I'm happy to talk.
Look, I like to talk too, which is why I host a podcast, so I can talk. So the last question we ask everybody on the Best of Johnston County podcast is, what do you love most about Johnston County?
I'm from London, and I could literally walk to everything in 5 minutes. Well, in my old house, I used to be able to walk to, in 15 minutes, I could walk to several bars, pubs as we call them, restaurants, stores, bank, everything was in a 15-minute walk. Here, if I walk for 15 minutes, I don't even get off my neighbourhood. I love the open space. I love the pace at which people live their lives in Johnston County. I go back to London for family vacations. I'm going back this fall to see my new granddaughter. But when I'm back in London, believe it or not, I'm there, I do the family thing, and then I want to come home. I want to come home because this is my home now. I love the open space. I love sitting on my deck after working a day and listening to nothing. Peace and quiet.
Well, it's definitely different than living in the city.
Absolutely.
And having lived in London, I can tell you it's definitely different.
Yes, sir.
It's a more relaxed lifestyle,
Yeah.
not the hustle and bustle of the city of London. So I can see why you would enjoy that after doing that for many, many years.
Yes,
so,
sir. Yeah.
Anyway, well, great. Well, we would like to thank Keith Newland, the president of the Blue Knights of Johnston County Law Enforcement Motorcycle Club, for being our guest on this week's episode of the Best of Johnston County podcast. As we mentioned earlier, please feel free to like, follow, subscribe to this podcast wherever you're seeing it so you'll be aware of future episodes of the Best of Johnston County podcast. And leave us a 5-star review down below. It will help with our visibility and let us know what you like about our podcast and how we can make it better. Until next time, I'm your host, Jonathan Breeden.
That's the end of today's episode of Best of Johnston County, a show brought to you by the trusted team at Breeden Law Office. We thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to sharing more interesting facets of this community next week. Every story, every viewpoint adds another thread to the rich tapestry of Johnston County. If the legal aspects highlighted raise some questions, help is just around the corner at www.breedenfirm.com.